Let's close this lecture out by doing a little compare and contrast between arrays and classes in a way you might not have thought about before. So let's compare what they can do in common, right? So one thing they both do is allow us to organize a bunch of memory, right? We have a bunch of data and we want some syntactically convenient way to access it, to write data back to the data structure, and these both do, right? Classes, of course, do more. They allow us to organize functions, and in fact, in Java, all things need to be a part of a class. But what they have in common is that they let you organize memory. Okay? Now, arrays, they are a bunch of boxes, all of the exact same type, and they're numbered, and we get back answers using bracket notation, or square brace notation. Whereas classes, if we have instances of classes, they don't have to be the same type. We have many different types of boxes, and when we want to access things, we use dot notation. Okay? Now I want to talk about a slight philosophical difference that's true in Java about how things can be accessed. So in Java, of course, array indices can be computed at runtime. So I can ask the user, which element of the array do you want? Or I can use a formula to compute an array index. So I could say index of interest equals 1 plus 1. And then here, I could use this to get back the contents of box number 2. This one we get back, of course, the contents of box number 4. And both of these types of retrievals from array will be totally normal. They'll work just fine. Okay? We can compute at runtime. Now, by contrast, in Java, whenever you have a class and somehow you know you want the mass variable, maybe you ask the user, what field do you want? And they type in mass or whatever. Or we compute it again from a function someplace. I cannot use this to retrieve a field. Okay? There are many things you might try. You might try p dot field of interest, because isn't that after all the mass? Or p bracket field of interest. That's kind of like a Python dictionary maybe, if you know what those are. But no, that won't work either. We can't do p dot quotes mass. We can't do p brackets quotes mass. None of those will work. Okay? It's just not a thing that Java will let you do. And so essentially, in Java, if you have a class, the only way to access a member is using hard-coded dot notation. That is, if I want to get the mass, I have to do p dot mass, M-A-S-S. It's in the source code. It's hard-coded. I can't do either of these things. And fundamentally, what it boils down to is, you can imagine a language where maybe Java would say, oh, it's a dot. Okay, well, if there's no field with that literal name, maybe I can evaluate it as an expression and then do something like that. It's not going to work. Okay. And so you can imagine other languages where you allow this kind of thing, where we will have a convenient, I'll say, first-class syntax that allows you to access fields like this. Or it could be something like MATLAB, which has something like get field, or I don't remember what it's called anymore. But if you're from MATLAB, it's pretty normal to compute an index of, or sorry, a name of a field you want and be able to get it back at runtime. But in Java, that just doesn't work. So if you're curious about these kind of trade-offs with programming languages, why is it that Java does not let you do something like this? Then you can either see a compilers class or maybe a programming languages class. So Berkeley have 164, CS164 that is, for more. Now I kind of lied to you because it is actually possible, given a string, to get back a field with that certain name from a class, but you have to use some sort of strange stuff. The key phrase, if you want to look it up for yourself, it's called reflections, but we're not going to use that in our class. And certainly it's unconventional to try and do that in Java, and it's just strange code. It won't be considered good style. Okay. So that's pretty much it for today. In fact, that is all. I don't know why I say pretty much. It is exactly all for today. So what we're going to do next time is we're going to take everything we've learned about arrays today and use that to build an array-based list. So that's all for today, and I'll see you next time.